Hey everyone, so in all honesty, I didn't want to make this video today. In fact, I didn't have any plans to make a video today. You might have seen it, I had a live stream scheduled and all I wanted to do was have fun playing games. And some of you might have noticed it, a few days ago, I uploaded a very similar video that I ended up deleting because it was too damn depressing, man, and I didn't want to leave it up on my channel. However, it's happened yet again in the video games industry, and this time to a company we cover heavily on the channel, so I can't just not talk about it. I have to cover the good and the bad news that comes along with it. So it's been announced today that Microsoft has let go 1,900 staff across Xbox, Activision-Blizzard, and also Zenimax and Bethesda. So I want to cover the news first and then go into my thoughts, because I have so many thoughts about this. Like, I woke up this morning trying to see if friends of mine and former colleagues of mine were also impacted by this decision. And some of you might know that I was also made redundant recently as well. It's gut-wrenching. It's horrible. Like, there is no other way to describe it, but I will get into those thoughts a bit later. So there was a memo leaked today from Phil Spencer to all Xbox staff that said the following. Quote, "We have made the painful decision to reduce the size of our gaming workforce by approximately 1,900 roles out of the 22,000 people on our team. The people who are directly impacted by these reductions have all played an important part in the success of Activision-Blizzard, Zenimax, and Xbox teams, and they should be proud of everything they've accomplished here. We will provide our full support to those who are impacted during the transition, including severance benefits informed by local employment laws. Looking ahead, we'll continue to invest in the areas that will grow our business and support our strategy of bringing more games to more players around the world." And then today as well, Jez Corden, I'll link all sources in the description by the way, Jez Corden tweeted out the following. "Multiple sources tell me that Microsoft is laying off the entire internal customer support teams for ABK games, save a few. Microsoft will outsource the rest to external companies abroad. Microsoft has also shut down departments dedicated to bringing Xbox games to physical retail. And then a huge amount of community managers have also just lost their jobs across the company." I used to be a community manager, man. It's horrible seeing that. It is. Okay, so my previous video as well was about Riot Games just making redundant 11% of its workforce. That was about 530 people. Overall, since about January 2023, we've seen over 10,000 people being made redundant in the video games industry. And then so far in 2024, we're not even a month in, we're still in bloody January, all right? So far in 2024, we've already seen over half of that number being made redundant. In the barely the first month, already over 5,000 people have been made redundant across the video games industry. So we've seen companies like, and big and small, AAA to AA and smaller than that. We've seen companies like Unity, EA, Niantic, Volition, Epic Games, Bungie, Ubisoft, CI Games, Riot Games, Bossa Studios, and now Xbox. And that's just a small sample. The list is absolutely huge. Well over 10,000 people, like thousands and thousands and thousands of people just losing their jobs. And before I get into my thoughts, I know a lot of people are going to be saying this stuff, and I had an argument with someone on Twitter about this today. I am very, very well aware of the business realities here. I am aware of what the reasons are behind these kinds of decisions. Yeah, when it comes to Activision-Blizzard, I'm aware that there was just a merger or an acquisition. I'm aware that they just acquired Activision-Blizzard for $69 billion. And also before that, Zenimax was $7.5 billion. I'm aware that usually after acquisitions, usually after mergers, people are let go. I'm also aware that when interest rates go from here to here, that it can affect people's jobs. I'm also aware that investors are very cautious at the moment in the video games industry, so they don't want to invest their money and they'd rather look elsewhere, right? And I'm also aware that this is in part a course correction from the days of COVID. When COVID was happening, everyone was at home playing games, so they had to hire extra people to support that. And then after COVID let up, people going outside more, we're not playing games as much anymore, so there isn't that demand, so they have all these other extra employees that they're just letting go, right? I'm aware of all those business realities, but in all honesty, guys, that's not where my head first goes. I'm not like, well, I understand the reasons, right? My head goes to the fact that thousands of people just lost their jobs. And as I mentioned to you, people that I used to work with, people that I call my friends, also being affected by this. And not just now, there were previously redundancies that affected Zenimax as well, and Xbox as well. I think it was like a year ago or so. That's where my head goes, because these are good people, hardworking people, losing their jobs, struggling to pay their bills, not knowing what to do next, not knowing if they're going to be able to get another job anytime soon, let alone another job in the video games industry. And that's the first big thing that I want to talk about, right? All of these people aren't getting made rehired in the games industry. This is not a case of just a couple of companies making redundancies and there's an abundance of jobs across the board, and so those people are able to go elsewhere, right? There are companies hiring, but not enough to hire back over 10,000 people. It's just simply not possible. It's physically not possible, right? So because of that, and because not everyone's going to be rehired, we are losing good talent in the games industry. Talent that in all likelihood will probably never come back, right? So that is years of expertise, passion, love for the industry, and also crucially, like culture that has been built up in, you know, inside of teams and within studios. That kind of culture is just disintegrated now. Like, think about all the people that have been lost and all the companies even that have been wound up, and we're probably going to see more over the next year or so. All the teams that have just been lost, you can't regain that culture back. It is very difficult. You can't just regain that experience back if people have to go off to tech or other industries, which are also losing staff left, right, and center, mind you. This just sucks. It's horrible to see. And it's especially horrible because we know of the amazing year of video game releases that we just had. 2023 was arguably one of the best years of video game releases ever. It was up there. There were bangers released across the board. Game of the Year contenders across the board. Whether it's Spider-Man, Baldur's Gate 3, all these games, right? In that kind of year, when we want to celebrate it, like I want to be able to celebrate these amazing games and talk about the industry that I love, it's hard to do that when simultaneously people are losing their jobs. And not just any people, it's people that worked on the games that we love. They're also losing their jobs. So it's hard to celebrate that success and say what an incredible year it was in video games when this is also happening concurrently. I can't reconcile those two. Right? This is horrible. This is absolutely horrible, and it's scaring off future talent. When I was made redundant from my job, I'm not going to lie to you, one of my first thoughts were, well, what if I go back into video games? How could I possibly even do that anymore? Like, especially when there are decisions letting go a lot of community people, because often that's what's happening. When you see redundancies, when you see people getting made redundant, oftentimes it is non-core development teams that are affected. So people in marketing and publishing and community management and areas like that. You just saw that in the Xbox redundancy that just took place today, right? Oftentimes that's what happens. And I was working in community management. So how could I possibly even think about going back to video games when all of these people are being made redundant? When there's literally all these community managers that are also looking for jobs as well. It scares off future talent for even wanting to try to apply for jobs in the first place. Even if I wanted to go back and work in games, which part of me one day, maybe, yeah, I'd like to, but it's just not, clearly right now it's not possible. And it scares me to even try, because even if you do get hired at a time when, you know, it's stable and there are no redundancies, what's going to happen in a year or 2 or 3 or 4 years? And I know that happens in many industries. I thought my last job was secure, but it wasn't, because media and publishing is going through something similar. Tech is going through something similar. This just sucks, man. It just... I'm worried about the industry. I'm genuinely worried about the industry and where it's headed, because you need people to make games. You need people to promote those games. I am one person, because I used to work in that role. I think it's crucial to also have community management, to try and build and foster a community around your games. I think it's fundamental and something that needs to happen to make your players and your user base happy. I worry of an industry when those teams are just dwindling to nothing. And I don't know what's going to be happening over the next year or so, because if signs are to be believed, like, this is certainly not going to be the last redundancy, and we're probably going to see companies be wound up completely. I don't know, man. Look, I'm gonna upload this video. I'm just upset. I'm upset to see all these people lose their jobs. I'm really upset to see people that I used to work with that were incredible at what they did lose their jobs. What else? What else can you say about this? So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And until next time, this has been Lone. Please take care of yourselves, and would you kindly keep fighting the good fight.